Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the past. We're having an interesting evening this evening. By the way, that was the evening sort of, or the opening experiment to make sure that everything's working. I've been playing around again with PCs and playing around with sample sets and levels, and I'm trying to get everything perfect. And it's difficult, but it's working. Cheers. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. That was one of my favorite, actually one of Vanessa's favorite German hymns. It's at the back of our Limburg book. Mein Gott, wie schön ist deine Welt. Did you hear that, what I was playing?
Ein bisschen, ja, ich liebe das.
Ah, it's one of her favorites. My God, how beautiful is thy world, is I suppose how you would translate it. In a churchy way. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're doing all sorts of exciting things this evening. We're going back in time. We're going back to when I started playing the organ as a young chap. I think what we'll have to do, my mum is here tonight, so I'm going to be asking my mum some questions, and it would be great if you would answer them in the chat for everybody. First question, when did I start taking organ lessons? Now, that's not when did I start playing the organ, because that's different. But can you remember when I started taking organ lessons, roughly? How old was I? Is that storm, or is that someone dragging something around the village?
Das ist keine Storm.
What is that? There's the most amazing noise outside. It sounds like a storm, but I'm guessing it's one of the local farmers dragging an enormous roller around the town. So yes, so when did I start playing the organ? Wrong. When did I start learning the organ? Official organ lessons. Mum, over to you. Have you answered yet? She hasn't answered yet, has she? No. No. All right. When did I start? I started piano when I was very, very young. And at some point in life, I'm not actually sure exactly what happens, but we decided that I would rather like to start playing the organ as well. And we bought one of those Yamaha electric or electronic organs that were all the rage back in the 80s. It must have been the early 80s when we got that thing. Must have been that. So, and then at some point, I think we decided, wouldn't it be good if I got some proper organ lessons? And we contacted the local organist at the cathedral in Inverness Cathedral, and the organist there, Russell was his name, Russell Grant. Russell is, you were in secondary school, so probably 13, 14, yeah, probably. And we contacted Russell and said, Fraser would like official organ lessons, and Russell said, well, can he already play something? And well, I said yes, and I was already playing jazzy stuff on the organ, so I turned up at Inverness Cathedral. I turned up at Inverness Cathedral and I played this on the organ in front of Russell Grant. I had never in my life played a pipe organ. I'd only ever played electronic organs until that point. And I turned up at the organ and I played this. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. There you are. And that was the first thing I ever played on a pipe organ. And the organist, Russell Grant, was surprised but not shocked. So that was fine. He was open to all sorts of things, and he sort of pulled all the stops and did all the sorts of fancy things, and that was it. We hit it off like that, and we had one of those sort of student-teacher relationships that can only be described as I'm not sure actually. I'm trying to think of a nice word to describe it. Russell was a brilliant musician. He sadly passed away earlier this year, I think. And a brilliant musician, brilliant organist, brilliant choir master. Russell was one of the few people that taught me all the sort of things I knew about music. We'll get to that in a minute as well. And Russell was very sort of caustic. I think that's a nice way of putting it. And Russell and I had our arguments from time to time, but we always worked well together musically. I think personally it was different. I, of course, I'm not one to keep my mouth shut, as I think most of you know by now, and nor was Russell. And the two of us quite regularly used to sort of, hit it off in a wrong way, shall we say. But anyway, Russell was very, very talented. Like I said, Russell knew exactly what I needed, having played this kind of thing. And Russell introduced me to the world of Johann Sebastian Bach at the organ, thankfully. And, sorry, I need to check something while I'm doing this. That's right. Okay. And Russell introduced me to the organ, threw me in at the deep end, and he threw me in at the deep end. I just dug this out earlier today. I haven't even played it. I just threw some registrations together and then thought I better play it. And Russell introduced me to the 8 little preludes and fugues by Bach. Nowadays we know they're not actually by Bach. They're probably by Crepes, but we're not terribly sure. None of us have a time machine, so none of us actually know who wrote them. But I was introduced to these, and the first one he gave me was the G major. And all he did was he gave me the music, and he said, here's a key to the cathedral. You can come in anytime you want and practice the organ, which was very good, very handy. And he said, make the most of it, practice as much as you want, and see if you just learn it all by yourself. And the first thing he showed me was, this was quite funny, the first thing he showed me was sort of some pedal technique, and it was doing sort of scales in thirds. That was my first ever organ lesson, actual official organ lesson. Yeah, doing that kind of thing in the pedals and working out where the pedals were, looking out for them, trying to feel my way around the pedal board, all that sort of thing. And then he just sort of gave me this music and said, learn it. Didn't play it for me, didn't show me it, and I went away and learnt it. And let's see if 36 years later I can still play it. Oh God, that makes me feel old. Anyway, here we go. So this is Bach's Little Prelude and Fugue in G major. And I hope I can still play it. I have no idea. This is not even the original version of it. This is the only version I could find in my collection is the Dupré fingered version. So I'm going to ignore the fingering and see what I can do. Wish me luck. My first ever piece of Bach. Our director is busy in the background, tipping away to all the people in the chat. Hello, everybody. I hope you're enjoying yourselves so far. That was remarkably calm and collected. I haven't played that for 35 or 36 years, I think. And, well, I'm quite amazed that it actually worked again. So, yes. So there you are, my first ever piece of Bach. Now, after that, Russell threw me, can I give you that, please? After that, Russell threw me in at the deep end, right in at the deep end, and gave me a very complicated piece of music to play. And I actually forgot I knew this. And years ago, a couple of years ago, I dug it out again and thought, ooh, I don't remember that. It's by Karg-Elert. Siegfried Karg-Elert, a wonderful composer that we do love. Do I have registrations for this? He said. I don't know, let's find out. Yeah, that might do actually. That's pretty big and loud. So, oops, wrong. That looks pretty big and noisy and loud, and it goes, oh, that's it. It just does that. Yeah, that'll, oh, hold on. No, that won't work, in other words. I need something even bigger at the end. Well, I'll tell you what, let's add to this. Spontaneous. All I need to do is add some chamades at the end. And we'll add some cornets and some loud stuff right at the end. And we want that. Yeah, that'll do. So let's add that at the end. Will that do? Should do. Okay. And Russell said, yes, it's about time you learnt something big. I wanted to learn noisy music, really big stuff. I wanted to learn Vidor Toccata. I wanted to learn all sorts of things. And he said, no, you're going to learn something complicated and still useful for a church organist. So he gave me a piece of music by Karg-Elert, a loud one. Sollt ich meinem Gott nicht singen? And I have played this before. I think I even played it last week on Ermelo from memory. But here it is with the music again on Billerbeck. We're on Billerbeck tonight, one of the largest and most exciting organs in the German nation. It's wonderful, beautifully sampled by Sonus Paradisi. It's an absolute corker. And yeah, this is what this sounds like. Sorry, I was being talked at in the background there, sorry. Yes?
What's that?
Can I play?
Yeah.
Oh, I can play now. That was a bit rushed, but at least it's there. It's a marvelous piece of music. And the point behind this piece of music, let me reduce that registration ever so slightly to show you what I'm talking about. The point of that was to play these things, these massive chords, without looking. Without looking. And yeah, it's great fun. Great fun indeed. So that was my first introduction to Karg-Elert. And then things took a turn for the better, for me at least. I was asked to play at a wedding, and I had never played at a wedding before. Someone said, "Oh, you started playing the organ, you can play for our wedding." And I foolishly said, "Yeah, all right then." And I bought this, the Organist's Wedding album. And this is possibly one of my oldest pieces of organ music that I purchased. I spent the princely sum of £10.75 on this book, probably in the aptly named music shop in Inverness. That's what it was called. Good name, eh? The Music Shop. And I guess I got it there. I can't imagine I ordered it on the internet. There wasn't any such thing as the internet in those days. And this was great because it had everything you need for a wedding, I thought. And it has things like the Wedding March by what's his name, Mendelssohn. It has the Bridal Chorus by Wagner. It even has Widows Toccata. This was exciting. This is the first time I saw Widows Toccata. Wow, amazing. And it had all sorts of music that we thought, oh, this could be rather exciting. And then the swines requested one of the most difficult pieces of music for me, a thing called Jesu Joy of Man's Desiring, which all of you who play the organ already will laugh and say, oh, that's the easiest piece of the music in the world. No, it's not. No, it's not, because, hold on, there's some registrations I was looking for. Okay. Like we just heard on that wonderful Karg-Elert thing, I love big chords. Melodies and big chords, wonderful. But intricate lines of music, in other words, counterpoint, my brain just goes, and I don't understand what I'm doing. So when I was faced with this is just counterpoint. There's one line, the pedals are doing this. Pedals are doing that all by themselves, and the right hand is doing this, all that kind of stuff. And then at some point there's this little melody that appears in the left hand all by itself. I'd never played a melody in my left hand in my life. Left hand melodies are things of mystery. I didn't understand them. So suddenly I had this thing, and my brain, like I said, just went, and I didn't know what to do. 35 years later, I still don't know what to do, but I'm going to try it anyway. This was actually a request last week. Someone requested Jesu Joy of Man's Desiring. Can you remember? Weißt du noch, wer sich das gewünscht hat letzte Woche? Someone requested it last week. Can you remember who it was? Joe, you'll remember who it was. Joe, who requested Jesu Joy of Man's Desiring last week? Can't remember? Vanessa says can't remember. All right, let's sight read it and see if I can play it. This is sight reading, so bear with me if there's funny bits. There will be. I told you that was sight reading. I warned you. I warned you. Sorry, we're looking for something. My mum, apparently my mum made a...
irgendwas gesagt, dass irgendwas bezahlt hat im Music Store für dich, das Buch oder so. Was hast du gesagt?
you bought the book for me in the music store. That's probably true, actually.
Und dann hat jemand gesagt, sie soll ihr Geld zurückfordern, hat sie gesagt, no chance. I think you will find that I paid for the book in the music shop.
Oh, I see. My mum paid for the book in the music shop. Yes, she probably did. So congratulations. Thank you very much indeed. Yes, I was one of those kids when we went on holiday with the family. I was, I would be given some pocket money for holiday while we're, to spend on toys and sweeties and whatever you buy when you're on holiday as a child. And I would invariably come home with more money than I left with. I was very good at scrounging from grandparents and various others, and then saving it, and then wasting it all on something else probably. But yes, that's the way I used to work. It's exciting stuff. Now, yes, that was my first experience of something called a trio, which is where you have a right hand with one part, a left hand with one part, and a feet with another part, all completely independent and doing what they want. And I remember spending months trying to learn that. And as you can see, 35 years later, it didn't make any difference. I still can't do it. I'm very, 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 very jealous, actually, of people who play things like trio sonatas by Bach, because my brain just can't work them out at all. I just can't. I can sight read Vidor and Vier, and that's not a problem, but something about trio sonatas, my brain just dissolves and disappears. When this wedding took place, I was very keen to play everything in this book, so I looked at the next piece of music after that, Jesu Joy, and lo and behold, it was something by my friend Siegfried Karg-Elert. And I offered to play this to the married couple, or the wedding couple, during the signing of the register, and they said, oh yes, that sounds very nice. So I did. Now that is something I can sight read all day long. Freu dich sehr, o meine Seele. Which basically translates as, have a great time, o my soul. Well, not quite, but you know what I mean. And that's Karg-Elert at his harmonic niceness. And It's a beautiful, simple piece of music. It doesn't really do very much, but it's just simple, it's effective, and it's great fun to play. So there you are. That's more my kind of thing. Now, while we're on the subject of weddings, a couple of years ago, Vanessa and I got married. And we had a civil ceremony because there's all sorts of complications with marrying again in the church. And we had a civil ceremony, and it was very beautiful. We got married in Bonn. And at the beginning of the ceremony, we wanted some music, and I kept myself out of the whole thing whatsoever. I said to Vanessa, nope, because you know me, I have my preferences with music. You choose the music and choose something nice. And for the procession on the way in, she did choose something nice. And it sounds like this. The legendary Pachelbel's canon. the harmonies of which have been used by many pop song over the years. Yes, it's a very simple piece of music, very effective music, and the easy thing about this kind of music is you can play as much or as little of it as you want, because that just dawned on me actually. We had a request last week, St. Chaz.
Ich habe auch noch hier was.
What's that?
Das ist für Herbert, seine Schwiegermutter ist gestorben.
Oh nein.
Der hat es momentan noch so schwer.
Oh nein. Okay, well, while we're on the subject of Bach, oh, that's a sad story. Let's use these registrations actually, they're rather nice for that. You all know Herbert, our friend Herbert, who is in the chat this evening. Herbert has been one of our best known and best loved supporters over the past months and years. And Herbert has just written to say he's a bit down at the moment. His Schwiegermutter was? His mother-in-law has just died. And that's rather sad. That's rather sad indeed. So he's asked for a request, a piece of music from the St. Matthew Passion from Bach, O Haupt voll Blut und Wunden. That's usually an Easter hymn, or a Passiontide hymn, just before Easter, in fact. So yes, we can definitely play that for you for Herbert. Okay, I'll quickly do that in German for Herbert. Lieber Herbert, Vanessa hat mir gerade deine traurige Nachricht erzählt. Das tut uns sehr leid, unser Beileid. Und danke auch für deinen Sonderwunsch. Das spielen wir sehr, sehr gerne. Oder das spiele ich sehr, sehr gerne. Also für die, die das noch nicht wissen, Herberts Schwiegermutter ist gestorben. Herbert ist ein bisschen down, deswegen natürlich, und hat sich O Haupt voll Blut und Wunden aus der Matthäus-Passion von Bach gewünscht. Und das machen wir natürlich sehr spontan und sehr gerne. Lieber Herbert, alles Gute für dich und für deine. Und ja, wir hören uns bald. Dankeschön. Lieber Herbert, o Haupt voll Blut und Wunden, für dich und für dein Verlust. Das war, ja, das ist eine wunderschöne Melodie, oder? That's a rather beautiful melody and you can really play around with it. So that was a little spontaneous improvisation for our friend Herbert. And thank you. We shall add that to our list of things. Vanessa, last week somebody requested. Yeah. We're gonna we have some more spontaneous additions coming up. I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember. Yes, last week Joe sent us a message. Somebody, St. Chaz, requested, I think it was the Queen of Sheba. So Vanessa, if you could find a copy of the music, The Arrival of the Queen of Sheba. There is an organ arrangement of it on Muse score, I think. If you can find that and print it out, we will do some more sight reading tonight. Sight read the Queen of Sheba. However, while we're doing that, while Vanessa's finding that, I'm going to play a piece of music for an old friend of mine who, again, it's one of those sad occasions. We have another death. And this was a chap from Inverness, a chap from my school, actually, one of our geography teachers. Alan Findlay was his name. And Alan Findlay was a wonderful, very quiet, very gentle chap. Tall, thin, big mop of hair, quite a big beak, as well as I remember. And Alan Findlay was one of those sort of teachers, very good teacher, very good teacher. Kids loved him, we loved him, he loved the kids. And but he had sort of a couple of hidden secrets, and one of those was he was a fiddle player. And when I was in, my final 2 or 3 years of school, correct me if I'm wrong, Mater, last 2 or 3 years of school, our bagpipe teacher, now this is weird, all right? Scottish school, Inverness, in the Highlands, lots of bagpipes, bagpipe, pipes and drums, the full band. And our bagpipe instructor was from New Zealand. There you are, Alistair. And of course, he had a Scottish name, Alistair. What was his name? Alistair McCaffer, was that right? Yeah. And it was Alistair's idea one day that we should put together a school ceilidh band. And we would, a ceilidh, a Scottish country dance band, a ceilidh band. So we sort of asked around, and Alan Findlay, this geography teacher, said, I play fiddle. So Alan turned up one lunchtime when we had our first rehearsal. I was on piano doing the dum dum, all that kind of oompa stuff. What did Alistair play in the ceilidh band? I can't remember now. He didn't play the pipes in the ceilidh band, I remember that. But we had Alan on fiddle. We had all sorts of. I honestly can't remember much about it, but I can't even remember what we called it. Oh, we called ourselves the Down Under ceilidh band. The Down Under ceilidh band, because of course Alistair coming from New Zealand, that was we had to do that. So yes, it was the Down Under ceilidh band, and we had our first outing in a very spontaneous outing in some school concert, and it went down a treat, as far as I remember. So, and we just found out, my mum wrote to me earlier today to say that Alan sadly passed away. He was 79, getting on a bit, and that was rather sad. So let's do, you're right, yes, Alistair was playing the accordion, that's right, well done, that's what he did. So let's do some spontaneous ceilidh music and see what we can get away with here. Can I even think of anything? Oh my God, can I think of anything at all? I'm going to start playing something and Vanessa's going to search around for stuff. Okay, let's do this. See what we can work out here. We found something Scottish. Let's do this. Yeah, I got it right. I got it right. I got Vanessa to print out the Dashing White Sergeant because I wasn't sure if I could remember it. And then it suddenly, in the middle of it, it came to me. There you are. And I got it right. Hurrah! My brain is still working. There you are. That was for our old friend Alan Findlay. Oh my God, no. We had on Monday night, Vanessa and I had an appointment on Monday, and on the way home from our appointment on Monday, I'd already cancelled my choir rehearsal, and on the way home we heard there was a concert. So we went to this concert, and it was a concert of one of the German military bands, and it was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful, and for some bizarre reason they must have known we were coming. They played 4 or 5 Scottish numbers, and at some point some guy appeared with a set of bagpipes and sort of quacked his way through this piece of music on the bagpipes. And yeah, well, let's just say it almost worked. It almost worked. It almost worked. And everyone thinks, oh, you're from Scotland, you must play the bagpipes. Nope, I don't play the bagpipes. I have tried, and it's basically like wrestling with an octopus. And it's about as much fun as trying to get music out of a weasel as well. It's incredibly difficult, incredible coordination required. And at the end of it, it's basically just an instrument of war and torture. So anyway, yes, so there you are. So not the greatest bagpipe fan, which is funny because, you know, I love loud instruments such as organs. Let's play a piece of, no, actually, we're going to play a spontaneous. Have you got, oh, she has, damn it. Do I have something possible? Yes, I could use that. That would work. That would work. Oh, would it? Hold on, if I change that. And no, hold on, I need that. Sorry, yes, so let's have that. That might work. Okay, spontaneous time, ladies and gentlemen. Last week, we had a request for a piece of music, and I said I would ask permission to play this music this evening. Oh, and by the way, there's a very, very interesting surprise coming up after this, and I'm putting it after this because this is going to be a disaster. Hast du das ausgedruckt für mich? Hurra! Management hat alles. Ihr seid einfach fantastisch.
Wieso ihr? Das bin ich jetzt schon mehrere, oder was?
Oh, and printed it out and already got a watermark on it. That's good. That's good. All right, good. Well done. Right, St. Chaz. And St. Chaz is here tonight. Yes, yes, St. Chaz is here today. Hurrah! St. Chaz, you requested this last week, and Joe casually reminded us that we were going to play it. So, well done to both of you. It's a piece of music that one would normally associate with another online organist. And then the other online organist I'm talking about, YouTube organist, is Gert van Hoof from the Netherlands. And Gert van Hoof's signature tune is definitely this. The Arrival of the Queen of Sheba. There's 4 pieces of paper. How am I going to do this? Let's do that. And let's do that. And then I swipe this. Yeah, that'll work. I'll swipe that over. Actually, this is something I once also played for a wedding hundreds of years ago, and I remember getting it catastrophically wrong because it's not as easy as it looks. Anyway, no prisoners taken. Let's see if I can play it. The Arrival of the Queen of Sheba. If you don't like my version of it, check out Gert van Hoof's channel. Gert van Hoof plays this regularly, and he plays it wonderfully with his pedals in octaves and things. He's very good at octave pedals. And yeah. This is a piece of music he gets requested all the time. And online organists make jokes about it, that we're not allowed to play it without his permission. So, Gert, I hope you will let me play this. I hope you don't mind. Let's see if this sounds... That sounds quite cute, doesn't it? And then we need a trumpety sound. We can use 2 trumpets. We can do that. Okay, I've just decided to make it even more complicated than it already is. Being a glutton for punishment. All right, let's see what happens. The Arrival of the Queen of Sheba for St. Chaz spontaneously. No prisoners taken. Let's go for it. Haha.
irgendwie die Uilleann Pipes ausprobieren.
That wasn't too bad. That wasn't too bad. Yes, there you are. The arrival of the Queen of Sheba. Finally, that's been requested many, many, many times. Okay, I'm going to practice that and add that to the repertoire. Keep pile, please. Not the throwaway pile. Ah, St. Chaz, thank you for your request. Talking of requests, I hope you're having a good evening this evening, ladies and gentlemen. And if you are, don't forget, you can help us out. And you can always help us out by clicking the link down in the bottom there. Vanessa's got it signed up there. You can help us out using our PayPal account. And you can drop us a few pennies. You can drop us a lot of pennies. You can drop us as many pennies as you like. And we're always very, very grateful to anyone who donates anything towards the channel. And yes, we'd love to hear from you. Thank you very much indeed. Vanessa has just said this evening, not many donations have arrived yet. So, casual reminder, it's the beginning of the month, you've all been paid. I'm a self-employed musician. I haven't been paid. Simple as that. So, anyway, thank you very much indeed. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a surprise. We have a surprise. I promised a surprise in the... Yeah, that's the surprise. So, Vanessa, get the surprise ready, please.
Ja, was
Yes.
ist denn hier mit mir?
Na, du musst einfach kurz warten. Dann kommt es und dann geht es, dann kommt es und dann geht es, dann kommt es und geht.
So probieren? Da musst du aber jetzt langsam auch schon machen.
Kannst du mal so probieren. We've got to get our technical side of things ready for this. Are we ready? Kind of.
Immer ready.
I'm going to put this on so that it's ready to go. Okay. We rather lovingly started calling ourselves the Garcho Gang a while back in these live streams. And believe it or not, there has been a Garcho Gang for some considerable time. And the Garcho Gang is made up of a few online organists who, well, we just got together one day for, actually it all started out with James Flores, believe it or not. James is here tonight, yes?
Ja, ja.
James is here tonight. Good. James Flores, again from down under, from Australia. James Flores does a weekly thing called, what does he call it? Virtual Vespers. A sort of a meditative service of music and readings, and it's like a sort of a Vespers that you would find in church. And James does a sort of virtual Vespers, and right at the beginning when he started doing it, he invited people who were live. He does it as a sort of premiere on YouTube, and he invited people who were in the chat to sort of join him for a Zoom chat afterwards. And at the time, my goodness. And at the time, James was there, I was there, Rien Schalkwijk was there, Graham Twist from England was there, and Vidas Pinkevičius from Lithuania was there. And we also, there were a few others as well from time to time, but it was basically the five of us. And we sort of got together on a regular basis, and we started calling ourselves the Garcho Gang for some reason. And that stuck. That stuck, and we're still very, very close friends. We chat all the time. Vanessa says I'm more married to them than I am to her sometimes. Vanessa is not impressed. I'm being looked at in the background. And it's true, it's true. I am very guilty. Sometimes I spend too much time with the Garcho Gang when I should be spending it with my beautiful wife. She's given me the big blue eyes in the background, yeah, so I've got to be careful. But over the years, the Garcho Gang have, we've come up with all sorts of activities and all sorts of exciting things. However, we now have what can only be described as a composer in residence. And Dr. Vidas Pinkevičius from Lithuania, from Vilnius, he composed a piece of music for each of us in the Garcho Gang, and he's called it the Garcho Gang Suite. This is a rather wonderful, wonderful piece of music. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is the international premiere of the Garcho Gang Suite. And over the past couple of weeks, the members of the gang, the five of us, we have recorded the music Vidas wrote for us. And we sent all our files to Rien in the Netherlands, and Rien has put them together in a video, in one film. It's about 12 minutes long, all five pieces together. Ton funktioniert wunderbar. It's all there, and Rien put them together, and last night he sent the file over to me so that we can post it this evening as a world premiere. And then over the weekend, we're going to post it again on our individual channels so that you can catch up on it. If you are interested in the music, you will find links to Vidas's site, Secrets of Organ Playing, it's called, here on YouTube. And go and check it out. You can, of course, buy the music and play it yourself. It's a rather wonderful selection of pieces of music. And there is even some alliteration. All I'm going to say is number 1 is called Fanfare for Fraser. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you, Vanessa, are you ready?
Ich bin immer ready.
Are you ready? I present, ladies and gentlemen, the Garcho Gang Suite.
Du machst die?
Go. Wow. Wasn't that exciting? It's still running on my monitor there, so I've got to be careful. How exciting was that? Ladies and gentlemen, that was the world premiere of the Garcho Gang suite. Isn't that amazing? So the fanfare for Fraser, the romance for Oreen, the vaudeville for Vidas. That was good fun, wasn't it? That was Vidas playing the organ of St. John's Church in Vilnius, by the way. One of, if not the largest organ in Lithuania. And then we had Graham with his gargoyles. A wonderful piece of music, very mysterious. Someone said it sounded like Harry Potter. I think that's amazing. And then at the end, I hope you got it at the end, James playing his jig. And did you notice how Vidas very cleverly hid the melody of Waltzing Matilda in between the hands as James was playing it? So I think James had the most difficult one to play with his Waltzing Matilda there. Absolutely amazing. But aren't they wonderful pieces of music? Like I say, these pieces of music will be, or this video will be repeated on everybody's channel tomorrow or over the weekend. So I'll be posting it tomorrow. You'll see it on Oreen's channel, on James's channel, on Vidas's channel, on Graham's channel. We're all going to be posting it. And all the links to all the various bits and bobs. And if you want to get hold of the music yourself, you will find it. Come Vidas, yeah. Oh, here we go. Oh, Vanessa's putting them all in the chat for us. Look at this. Rien Schalkwijk. Here we go. Perfect. Look at this. Wonderful. Well done. Well done. Vanessa's putting links to everybody's channels in the chat there, so you can go and check them out. But yeah, absolutely wonderful stuff. Vidas, a million thanks to Vidas for coming up with this idea and also these wonderful compositions. They're quite amazing. And if you listen very carefully, you will see some similarities and some connections between the pieces, harmonically speaking, at least. And yeah, definitely great stuff. Great stuff indeed. So again, thank you to Oreen for putting it all together. And of course, thanks to Vidas, to Graham and to James as well for just being part of the Garcho Gang. Have you got everyone? Jimmy Two Pads? Jimmy Two Pads, Graham, Oreen, Vidas, and you don't need me because I'm here. Yeah. I'm here. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we've had a number of requests while we're at it. So welcome back to this part. Now, over the week, I've been posting some normal videos again, and I posted a piece of music by Bach on the Melbourne Town Hall organ. I posted a piece of Masonic music. Yes, was it yesterday? Yes, it was yesterday. And you know me, I regularly feature music from all kinds of different places in the world. And here is, again, a wonderful music from our friend Gleiswanderer from the Book of Jehovah's Witnesses hymn books and things. Now, these are amazing. Amazing, amazing. Where am I going to put? Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll do this. Yes, play around with this. The Jehovah's Witnesses hymn books, and this is a wonderful piece of music, and I received a private video from Gleiswanderer with a suggestion to this wonderful piece of music. I'm going to improvise around on it. It's called the Siegeslied, so the you know what that means. And then we're going to move on to some other pieces of music. I have a Scottish piece of music coming up, and then, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on to the theatre organ world. We're talking this evening about my organ past, where I came from, where I started. And believe it or not, before I started playing classical organ, I actually played the theatre organ. And we're going to be talking about that in about 8 minutes' time. Wow. The Siegeslied. You can play around with these wonderful hymns for hours and hours on end. They're absolutely wonderful. Gleiswanderer sent me a lot of these hymn books and sent me a list, sort of 3 or 4 pages, a list of his favorites from all of these tunes. And I think we'll do an entire concert of them one night because they're just so much fun. They're like film music. And of course, as you heard there, I was being a little bit inspired by Vidas's composition style, turning it into a bit of gargoyles and a bit of vaudeville while we were at it there. We had a spontaneous request for a piece of music that I will be playing tomorrow evening in church. It sounds something like this. The Highland Cathedral, that was a request this evening from Klimaschütter, was that right?
Yeah.
From Eddie, and a lot of people have been requesting it, and it's one of those pieces of music that gets horrendously copyright claimed here on YouTube, but who cares? Who cares?
Also, deine Mama sagt auch, das ist ihr Favorite.
I know, I spotted that. My mum says it's her favourite tune. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. There you are. Things you don't know about your own mother. Ian Lavery. Ian, PayPal is not letting me buy a ticket. Tut tut. Don't worry, Ian. Don't you worry. A thumbs up and a subscription, and yes, you know what to do. Yeah, that was a request for Eddie, for our Klimaschützer, who's going on holiday tomorrow, or today, or tomorrow, sometime soon. So that was that. Now, I'm going to click this button. I'm going to click this button, go away, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. Ping. We're going to change organs. We're going to move back to the theatre organ world. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, come on, watch this. Watch the speed of this when it suddenly decides to load. This is the joy of having a wonderful new machine. It has to unload the old organ, which is of course huge and takes a couple of seconds. And then it will go brrrp, and load the new organ. Look at that, look at that. That's amazing. That, ladies and gentlemen, is technology. Haha. Oh yes, theatre organ time, which means I can start doing all sorts of things. Now, the link here is Highland Cathedral was not only my mum's favourite piece, I think it was one of Gran's favourite pieces as well, wasn't it? My grandmother. I know it was played at Gran's funeral, so it must have been one of her favourites as well. And my grandmother and my gran was a very musical person, and she taught me all sorts of things. Oh, I was going to tell you about the people in the world who taught me all about music. And well, my gran and her twin brother, my great uncle George, they were the two that really got me going on music at the beginning. Without wanting to be offensive, neither of my parents are musical. I think they would quite happily say that they're not the most musical of people. However, my grandparents, or my grandmum, and like I say, her twin brother, they were very musical. They were twins. They were the legendary Bell twins. That was their name before. It was my grand's name before she got married, Bell. And the Bell twins were very famous back in the sort of the 30s in Inverness. They were very musical. My grand played the piano, and Uncle George played the fiddle at the time, but he was also a stonkingly good piano player himself and accordion player. He taught me jazz piano, basically. He taught me all the sort of the Fats Waller stuff and all that kind of stuff. That was Uncle George that taught me all of that. So without the two of them, none of this would ever have happened. And then when I went to school, there was one music teacher who taught me pretty much everything, and all the rest of them, as far as I'm concerned, they were all crap. And I will say that, I don't care if I offend anyone by saying that. I didn't learn anything from any of them. The only one I learned stuff from was an old guy called Fred Short. And Fred was a wonderful old Cockney guy who was in the army, and he came to Inverness to just be a teacher, basically. And Fred was our music teacher and our social studies teacher. So when we were at a very young and tender age, Fred took the classes aside and taught us about the birds and the bees in the way they did in schools in the 80s. Yeah, but Fred was a wonderful music teacher and taught me basically everything I know about music. When I went to university, I said, yep, know that. Yep, Fred taught me that. Yep, Fred taught me that too. Yep, Fred taught me that. Fred taught me that. Yeah, and it was, it went on like that all the time. And apart from a few sort of historical facts that I added over the years at university, it was pretty much all sort of, yeah, Fred taught me that, Fred taught me that, Fred taught me that, Fred taught me that, Fred taught me that. So my grandparents and Fred Short are basically responsible for this and all this musical stuff. However, there was one thing that my grandmother introduced me to that I could not believe, and it's stuck with me ever since. I loved a radio show on BBC Radio 2, Friday night it was. It was before Friday night is music night, as it was called. It was The Organist Entertains, Nigel Ogden and The Organist Entertains. And years later, I got to know Nigel very well. We became close friends. And Nigel came to stay with us in Inverness a few times as well on holiday. Great fun. And Nigel introduced me to many, many theatre organs around the country in the UK, but my grandmother and I used to have a sort of an annual pilgrimage to Blackpool, to the Tower, and we used to sit all day in Blackpool Tower watching the organs changing. So you had the theatre organ, the mighty Wurlitzer, and then that weird electronic thing they have as well, and I would just sit and be mesmerised by this all the time. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to Blackpool Tower to play the organ, you have to, or to hear the organ, you of course hear, well, there's only one piece of music you hear. Here it is. Oh, I do like to be beside the seaside, yes indeed. And the team at Blackpool Tower, people like Phil Kelsall and the gang, got me going on all that sort of stuff. And there was a certain kind of music, and I had music printed out for this tonight. Oh, there it is. And there was a wonderful kind of music that got me going all the time. I thought it was wonderful. And of course, it's the dance music that you have. You know, everyone comes to Blackpool Tower to dance. And I would sit and watch all these organists perform for hours and hours on end. And it taught me one thing: rhythm, tempo for dancers. You have to stick to your tempo for dancers. Here then, if you have a partner and someone to dance with, grab them, take them onto the floor and get ready for a foxtrot. Time to dance along to the Blackpool-style theatre organ world. Wonderful stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, before we go this evening, tomorrow is the 2nd of July, which means it's the first Saturday of the month. And supporters and members of our Patreon club called the Tuba Club, we will be having our first private live stream tomorrow evening. Invitations will be sent. I do hope you can join us. It's very spontaneous. We decided just to go ahead and do it. We were going to wait until we had 20 members in the tuba level on Patreon, but we decided let's start anyway. We'll have a little private concert tomorrow evening. So invitations will be sent. Vanessa, do we have a picture to show you what it's going to look like? I think we do, don't we? I think we have a picture. This is what tuba is going to look like. There you are. It's going to look just like tonight's, but it says Saturday night is organ music night. Our first private concert, tuba, 2nd of July. Thank you very much. And click. There we go. And yeah, we're going to do it. So the usual time, tomorrow night, that's for us. But we will, of course, be back on Sunday night as well, with Sunday night is organ music night. And Sunday night is going to be one of our request nights again. So some hymns, some classical music. I've already got some Brahms. Ooh, that's exciting. I've got this thing here for our friend Bodensee-Horn called the Old St. John's Song. We've got all sorts of exciting things. Someone has requested something by Duruflé again. Someone has requested more Bach. Someone has requested more Handel. It's all coming again on Sunday night. But tomorrow evening is going to be our private concert for our tuba members. Now, included in that list are, of course, going to be other people who donate generously to the channel. So it's not just going to be for the tuba people. If you're on Patreon above the tuba level, you are automatically invited as well, obviously. And yeah, that's the plan. It's going to be it's going to be an exciting night. It's not going to be the longest concert. It's not going to be 2 hours. It's just going to be a sort of test. Let's see how many people join us. So that's the fun. I think, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to finish this evening's entertainment. And yes, of course, that's right. Yeah. People on the en chamade level, if you're above tuba, that's the en chamade level, you will also be invited. Of course you will. That's definitely going to happen. I said it before and I'll say it again. The wonderful world of Fats Waller on the organ is the only way to go. And we're going to finish off this evening with a piece of music by Mr. Fats Waller. See if you recognize it. Good night, everybody. See you either tomorrow or Sunday. And on Sunday, I will be telling you more about this. It's finally available for public consumption. The final versions have been sent out around the world. There's the old one, Piping Hot at the Organ, and there's the new one, Fraser Gartshore's Organ Works. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, soon to be available for public purchase. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good evening. I look forward to seeing you again very, very soon. Take care and bye-bye.